Either is Aric Almirola. The window net down on both of those cars. Signal to the safety crews the driver is okay. Now Patrick and Logano were 11th and 12th. Almirola was back in 23rd. Cars stopped at the entrance of turn 1.
Let's see what happened here, guys.
Oh man, it looked like the 22 just got loose.
I think that.
Oh man, what a ride that Danica went on.
Danica took a heck of a ride into the wall, and then the 43 just plowed in there.
Yeah, he had nowhere to go. I think he committed to the outside lane. Pretty big impact by the 43. As you could see, Almirola sitting in his car. He hadn't quite gotten out of the car yet.
Eric Jones right behind them, right behind Logano.
Oh, something
wow,
broke.
something happened on that 22.
Something had to break.
Keep coming here. There you go.
22 violently turned left right into Danica.
Top is good.
Oh, right
front. Yeah, I saw it blow the fender up.
I think that was a brake rotor.
Are you thinking what?
Yeah, and that's why it turned left. I think that disintegrated the right front brake rotor. Right as he went to the brakes, you saw it come through the hood. And what that do? It just turned the car to the left because all it had was left front brake.
It turned it dead left. I know that.
Patrick went for a wild ride and then got bam pounded again by Almirola.
Mike, remember Joey Logano complained about his brakes early in the race.
Well, he made a nice recovery, Larry. Got himself back up here in the top 10 or 12 and had a pretty good car, looked like. Boy, this is huge right there. Look at that car come up off the ground. That's a heck of an impact.
The rear axle almost come out of, or the rear end housing almost come out of that car, the 43.
Now, Almirola was a good 10 spots behind this.
Yeah, he must have thought those cars were going to come down the track. I'm not sure what he was thinking.
See how.
That's big right there, but then what's that?
That's why Danica jumped out so fast. Look at all the flames. Big fire there. All she could see was flames. She knew she needed to get out of that car as soon as she possibly could.
Wow.
It looked like the 43, it just got super loose, or maybe there were some fluids.
Jeff, I saw debris back there. I think Almirola ran over something that prevented him from turning that car down the racetrack.
See, he was just in a big slide.
She's had a frustrating season.
She has, and I think when she sees what I don't think Joey did anything wrong. I think he had a mechanical failure that caused this.
But boy, that was a scary ride that Danica went through. The way, I mean, you're at one of the highest speed parts of the racetrack. How it turns it to the right, sends it straight into the wall.
Now Aric Almirola is still in the car, catching his breath. He dropped the window net to signal he was okay. Removed his helmet, but he's taken a little time to compose himself here as the safety workers wait.
Mike has a big impact, buddy.
That was a hard impact. But I did see a debris field behind Danica's car, and I think it's reasonable to assume that he ran over something, wasn't able to cut that car down to the racetrack, down low on the racetrack.
I agree, Mike. And when you see that car hit as hard as it did, and the back of the car comes up in the air, that's just a huge lick, a huge impact. Those cars are all three just destroyed.
That is a very somber look at what happens when things go wrong at 200 miles per hour. Safety workers assisting Aric Almirola, who we could see was conscious and talking to the workers inside the race car. The AMR medical crew, new this year to NASCAR, along with the Speedway rescue crew. Looks like they're going to do some surgery on the roof of that car to aid in him climbing out.
It was just an incredible snap when he hit those cars, and to see the car come off the ground like that, I can't tell you how much energy that takes to make those cars come up, get that car up in the air like that.
Especially when you see the rear end housing and the drive shaft, you have to remember, is connected to that, which connects up to the engine. When you see that violently moving like that,
that's huge.
You know, there's possibility that could be making some kind of contact with, you know, where the seat's mounted and other areas inside the cockpit as well.
The roll cage, the 6 or 7 point harness system for Almirola. The helmet with its tether to the head and neck support, which helps with a frontal impact. And Aric continues to talk to the safety crew, so he is conscious, alert, participating with them, but because of deformation to the roll cage, they're going to take some action here to aid in his being able to get out of the car. Logano's car first slid slightly right and then violently turned to the left. And you will see that by the time Aric Almirola gets to this, his car is sliding out of control.
So if we can go back and look, it's back here. Here he is, way back here.
And he's trying to get slowed down. He sees that. And the car just goes into a slide. It just sort of a controlled slide, but unfortunately sending him right in to the cars, you know, that are in this crash, to the 10, the 22. You see that rear end housing?
Yeah.
How violent that was?
It's such a snap. I mean, you just, a frontal impact like that, and the driver is pushed forward immediately, and it just snaps you.
And by the time he got near them, there was certainly enough debris on the racetrack that could have cut one of his tires and prevented him from cutting that car to the bottom.
I mean, in watching this, I just have to believe that that rear end housing, maybe the drive shaft came disconnected and protruded or caused some kind of heavy damage or impact inside that cockpit.
Yeah, it could be, Jeff, but I just think that sudden impact where you're head on like that,
yeah,
it just puts your body in such a position, it just snaps you.
The side headrests and the head and neck restraint are designed to work in a frontal crash, a straight ahead frontal crash. And he did hit Logano at a substantial angle. So you see he's got the net down before he's even come to a halt. So it appears Aric has been conscious throughout this entire time and speaking with and helping the rescuers.
And these safety workers, they are trained to do these kinds of things. And they don't want to take they take every precaution to get that driver out of the car without him having to put his body in any compromising position.
And in these types of situations, if there is an injury, this prevents any further injuries from happening.
They want to get a backboard down in there and secure everything. It's just like an injury on a football field or anything else. These guys know what they're doing. They work at this constantly. They've been trained to situations like this. I've seen them practice trying to get drivers out of cars.
So once again, Aric Almirola is awake and alert and talking with the rescue team on site as they work on cutting roll cage bars and perhaps removing the roof to be able to get him out of that car.
Most likely that's what they'll have to do to get down in there where you can get him out, where they can get him out without compromising anything. Remember, these seats, they are custom fit. They are molded to your body. And so you almost got to be a contortionist to get in and out of one of these things these days. And so that's where that's why they're taking these precautions that they are.
Looks like they're getting ready to peel the windshield back.
Now they just want a clear path, a way to get him out of the car. They're just trying to cut the car away to where they get a clear path with him come up out of the car.
This is all happening at the exit of turn 2 at the outside wall where that car came to rest after a violent collision with Joey Logano and Danica Patrick, who had crashed together going into turn number 1.
Well, Mike, look where he ended up. The wreck's back here in the middle of 1 and 2, and Aric's car is over on the back straightaway.
Yeah, he rode the wall and scrubbed off speed for a good quarter of a mile after that initial impact.
Yeah, one thing you didn't see was the car come to a stop, which would typically say that the brakes are working. I'm pretty sure either he wasn't able to get the car slowed down with the brake pedal, or there were no brakes on the car.
Yeah, they'll just pull this roof back out of the way. That way they can reach down in there and pull him straight up out of the car. We saw this at Talladega where the car was on its roof, and these guys were trained to how to lay that car back, get that car back up on its wheels without doing anything violent to upset the driver inside the car. They got a system to do that now. They got a system to get the driver out of the car when he needs help like this. I'm impressed with the safety workers that we have these days.
Absolutely. There's Danica's car being hauled back. And once again, we want to stress that Aric Almirola is awake and alert and communicating with the rescue personnel on the scene who are working to remove him from that car.
Well, and I think also, Larry, you might chime in about the foot box and all the things that they've done to these cars to make them safer inside as well.
There's the inside of Joey Logano's car.
I'm still really anxious to hear from Joey Logano and hear his explanation of what caused this wreck, because it was pretty clear as he went into turn one. The car just turned left right into Danica Patrick's right rear.
Yeah, definitely made a sharp left.
You're riding with Joey.
Watch up on the right front. Right there, a piece went through the hood, and then the car turned left. Nothing he could do at that point.
Here's what Joey said.
Whatever it was. Danica, all right?
And that's the thing, you know, as a driver, when something like that happens, you see what an impact it is. You see what you know has gone on, and you instantly, once you know you're okay, you want to know how others are. And he knew he made heavy contact to Danica and sent her nose into the wall, and then the car went airborne and spun around, caught on fire.
You see the damage at both ends to Danica's car, and all the front sheet metal is gone, and the engine ended up where? Wow.
It's in there.
It's back in there.
It's just
shoved it back in, up in the car. There's the backboard that they want to get down in there and get Aric secured to.
Quite honestly, they figured out toward the end of the season that was not the best path for them to take. They've kind of reversed field here in 2017 and begun getting a lot more help from Roush Fenway Racing. And from
So we're assuming that the use of the backboard here for Aric Almirola is precautionary. And there you see him again, awake, alert, talking to the rescue workers, and they're, you know, just taking every precaution. Most of the drivers use carbon fiber seats now. Some still use an aluminum seat, but these seats are engineered both for comfort and for the ability to attenuate impact and minimize the possibility of injury. They're a far, far cry from the step van seats that used to be used 25, 30 years ago. This is an engineered solution to driver comfort and safety that's employed now, and these seats have to be certified by SFI, both the seats and the foams that are used for padding.
Yeah, when you have an impact like that, Mike, it stuns you. It's like taking a huge hit right in the gut. And so Aric's communicating with those guys and telling them what he's feeling, I'm sure, but he's not even sure if, you know, what if he has any problems or not, because he's in such a situation here from the impact.
And I don't know the supplier to his seat, but they are very structurally sound these days because of that certification process. There's a sled test process that they go through to get certified. They can withstand you know, heavy impact in many different directions. Also, the way they're mounted in the cars these days of just what they are capable of handling.
Yeah, I think you're the most vulnerable, just like what we saw there in a head-on collision. The seats have got side impact, you know, all kind of headrests and everything else. The Hans device certainly saves you, you know, keeps your neck from snapping. But those head-on collisions are the ones that really take their toll.
And head-on with an angle.
Yeah.
As he did hit Joey at an angle, I think that's probably even more worrisome than a direct head-on crash where the Hans device would be of most use. Certainly it is a big help in this situation as well.
Yeah, see, they're able to get him out of the car. And
first time next weekend in Charlotte. And Steve, those magic grip sheets are already kind of sitting around planning how we're going to use
onto the gurney and then to the ambulance. And so all of our well wishes are with Aric Almirola. And once again, we want to stress that he is awake and alert and communicating with the rescue personnel at the scene.
And the other thing, Mike, you got your foot on the brake and you got your leg extended, pushing hard on that brake. So that's another area that you can have a problem.
Conventional wisdom says that they would save it to the end, but we know these crew chiefs, you know how they operate. Conventional wisdom is something that doesn't necessarily apply because if everyone does the same thing, you're always going to see the stuff. If you get some of those areas practice goals, and I'm trying to practice that, that still would be a real good thing, and you can see how they perform, how they want to perform, and what they do along the way. So it is going to be amazing to see how those guys do.
So Aric Almirola from Tampa, Florida, being helped into the ambulance after this extremely hard 3-car pileup down in turn number 1. Joey Logano and Danica Patrick running 11th and 12th crashed in turn 1 after something appeared to break on Logano's car. Aric Almirola was about 10 positions back, came through the debris field and slid into them. We'll get further updates from the care center as they become available. Jamie Little.
And Joey Logano, the first to be checked and released there. First off, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Just saying prayers for Aric right now. It's a lot of us took a hard hit, and just something broke in my car. I don't know what it was. I noticed it as I was going in and tried to back off, but you're going 215, and it's hard to check up. And the car just took a big step sideways into the corner and hooked Danica, and I haven't seen a replay yet. I don't know what happened, but I guess here it is now. But you can see the right front pops or something right there, and then it took a hard left. And I just hope everyone's okay. I hope Aric's all right. It's the last thing you want to see is a big hit like that from anyone. So it's unfortunate for everybody. Let's hope Aric's all right.
Joey, did you have any indication, was anything happening with just the handling of your car leading up to that point?
Just, yeah, out of nowhere. Just, oh my God. Just out of nowhere. Everything was fine, and then it just took a hard one. Ooh. Yeah, I wouldn't pray for Aric right now.
Have you had a chance to talk to Danica at all?
Yeah, we rode back in the car, in the ambulance together, and we just, I can just tell her something broke. I hate that I'm the part of it to start it. There's nothing I could have done. I don't know what happened, but like I said, something broke and just tore up a lot of really good cars.
All right, thanks. I'm glad you're okay, Joey. Mike?
Thanks, Jamie. Joey Logano checked and released from the infield care center. We hope to hear from Danica Patrick shortly, and we'll give you information on Aric Almirola as it becomes available to us. We'll be right back. Center. Joey Logano's gone back to the garage to debrief with his team after this grinding 3-car pileup down in turn 1. Here's Jamie.
Well, despite the big impact, Danica, yeah, a little smile on your face there. Looks like you're feeling okay, are you?
No, I'm not at all. I feel absolutely horrible. I just don't understand. I just don't understand why so much bad luck happens. But besides that, I actually feel physically fine, and I was over there showing the doctor that my sprained ankle was just fine. And the laughter is merely just, what can I do but laugh about it? Like a rotor on a track we're braking with 200 pounds of brake pressure, 300 pounds of brake pressure. I mean, why? What else can I say? On the other hand, I was having a really good night, and that's what makes me the most mad, is that every time I'm doing better, something stupid happens, and it's just killing me. Like, I don't know any other way to say it. Kind of felt like Wonder Woman, though, at least tonight for a little while.
Well, you definitely look like it, running top 10 there for a while, and you had to ride in the ambulance next to Joey. I know you hadn't seen the replays by that point, but what did you say to him?
Oh, well, I got out of the car and I walked that direction, but I'm careful to not walk towards the track because I have been fined for that before, so I walked towards that direction. And when I saw him, I said, I'm not sure if it was you, but I'm pretty you know, figured, you know, you imagination of what words I used. Pretty sure it was you. And then he said it was a failure of some sort, which didn't really make me feel any better in that moment. But it was him, so I was at least right. At least in the medical center, they can know neurologically and cognitively that I'm doing just fine. They asked me what day it was tomorrow, and I was smart. I said Mother's Day.
Smart. I'm glad that you're okay, and Joey was concerned about your health and your well-being.
Well, I hope Aric's okay. He's definitely feeling the worst of everybody, and so, you know, this is, NASCAR does everything they can to make our cars as safe as possible, but, you know, things happen, and his car looked the least damaged of all of ours, to be honest. And you know, that's kind of what I said at the end before I walked out, is I'm like, one of these times these accidents aren't going to go good for me. They are all big, and I've been very fortunate so far, but one of these times it's not going to go well.
Thank you, Danica. And we're waiting some word on Aric Almirola. Mike, as soon as we get it, we will get it to you guys.
Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate that. Danica was having a really good night. She was competitive. She was battling in the top dozen spots for most of the night. And yeah, she was having a Wonder Woman kind of night.
Yeah, she was. Good run going forward.
Now, the brake rotor, Danica questions, Larry, why this would happen at a track where you don't use a lot of brake. But if I recall correctly, this is not the first instance of brake rotor issues that Team Penske has had this year.
No, it isn't. But Mike, I listened to some of the drivers that's complained about brake issues, and Joey Logano was one of them. Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon, Clint Boyer, and I go back to the conversation Jeff and Darrell and I had earlier. You're using more brake here than normal simply because of this aero package, and Joey Logano talked about it, how fast you go off in the corner, and you're running faster now than you were last year just simply because the straightaway speed is greater.
There's Clint Boyer as we're back under the yellow flag. His team is concerned about brakes.
To me, on that 22, it looked like a rotor exploded. Yeah, that's what I'm, hate to say this, but I've been worried about mine the whole race. Not harder on the brakes for some reason. I hope, like hell, I don't see the throttle traces Monday and kick myself, but.
What he means by that is he driving in the corner too hard. That's when you throttle trace. He wants to see what that looks like on Monday. You know, maybe he feels like maybe he's overdriving the car and having to use too much brake.
Well, I mentioned earlier, I saw some glowing rotors. You could see those pieces flying through the hood right there. I got to believe that is coming from a rotor. Now, what may have caused that, I'm not really sure. But we saw glowing rotors on the 3 car of Austin Dillon earlier, and others complained about brakes. So certainly something is going on with these cars and causing them to use more brakes or not have enough cooling on them.